A curved spine twists this woman's posture forward, her greasy hair draped over her large eyes like vines. You must be visiting someone. Does she have, like, scoliosis? Do you know where I might find... Well, hold on. Have any patients been acting unusually? This is going to be a stupid question because they're all insane. Well, there's Batixa, who relives a murder she committed more than 5 lifetimes ago. Idleman, who they say only has half a soul and who was found collecting the faces of others because he believed his own to be a false one. Graham, he speaks in a language no one understands and he wails at night. Different from their normal behavior, I mean. Well, yes, I suppose, but nothing they didn't volunteer for. Master Azo lets us know that a number of patients in the North Ward had volunteered for a new therapy and would be escorted to his laboratory to receive treatment. The North Ward has our most troubled cases. I'm glad some of them have chosen to get help. It seems to me it's gotten quieter over there since it started. Are they all dead? It's Graham I see them taking in the most. He struggles, but he was always a bit of a wild one. Why are you in here? I don't want to say you'll think less of me. Her cheeks flush. Oh. Oh, man. I wouldn't worry about that. Saying my opinion of her is already rock bottom? That's so terrible. When you blush, it brings out the color of your eyes. Her blush deepens, and she ducks her head forward to bury her face deeper beneath her hair. The last few years haven't been kind to me. They haven't been kind to anyone, really. I try not to think of it as personal. I lost my husband and both boys in the Saints' War. My daughter, the legacy took her before she was ever mine. I made do. What else can you do? I moved into a tiny place in Andra's Gift, that's the docks area. Got by mending clothes and on the kindness of strangers when I had to, but I was surviving and the gods were watching over me. I could live with that. One day, this noblewoman comes in and wants a fancy gown fixed. Gorgeous thing. Shade of blue I'd never seen before, only I looked at it and it reminded me of something. I had what they call an awakening. I remembered it being a noblewoman myself in another life. People doting over me. Men doting over me. Me! The best food, the most beautiful home, all the things you never dare to dream of, they were mine. It was poison knowing that. All those things I had that I'll never have in this life, it did something to me. My food started to taste rotten. The walls in my little room seemed to close in around me. I stopped being able to sleep in my own bed. So I came here. It was that or break into an estate and start ordering servants around. It seemed like such a silly thing to worry about. You don't have to tell me, but I can't get past it, and I start to wonder, did the gods choose this life for me? And if so, what terrible thing must I have done to deserve it? Maybe you'll get there. Maybe you'll get there again one day. If not in this life, then in another. The strange part is I think even the best wouldn't be good enough for me anymore. I think it must have gotten to the point when I was that noble lady. Alright. What do you know about Azo? Oh, I like him very much. Many animancers could care less about the patients, look at us like vermin for their experiments, but Master Azo treats us like humans, even the very sick. You could tell he does this to help people. He's helped me understand a great deal about myself, and I know he's done the same for others. It's too bad what they did to him. He hides it well, but I know he's still affected by it. What happened? They don't like to talk about it, but there was an accident. He was said to be one of the brightest in Direwood. That was his reputation there, and what brought me to seek treatment. People say it was ego that drove him to try and solve the legacy, but that's hogwash even if he was a bit of a showman. He loves his homeland, he thought he could help. He wasn't one to speak of his work, suspected his colleagues might have tried to steal it. But he told me once he had figured out a way to create a soul. Not a... Yeah, you bang someone. You make a soul. Not a soul exactly, mind you. How did he put it? A proxy, I think he called it. It had some machine that drew energy out of the very ether. Can you imagine? The point is, I was going to help with the legacy. It was going to make Hollowborn into something easier to love and care for. God knows that's something we need. Do you know what they call those empty little babies in Andra's Gift? No. They call them buoys, because so many of them are found floating face down in the water. Holy shit. That's pretty hardcore. Three big cities of Dallas. Catching up on chat. The grieving mother's hands fly to her ears and her mouth frames a silent scream. Only her mind speaks. Evils that magnify tragedies. This is what we must stop. Anyway, Master Azo had scheduled a public demonstration of his work in Copper Lane. He was so excited. Then the next day, he was locked in his office, turning away visitors, I heard. He stopped seeing patients. I don't know what exactly happened, and I don't have the heart to ask him, but I'm glad they're letting him treat people again. Alright, do you know where he is? I think I've seen him around today. Have you checked the lab? It shares a wall with his office. He's been spending most of his time there lately. Okay, let's tap that save button, because that was a long conversation. Let's see what we can find here. Patient, flesh construct. I feel like we're going to like move through this place, and then these constructs are going to attack, and I'm going to have to hack my way back out. Guards. A flesh construct. Like, they're totally cool with that? They're chill with that? Oh, got some money. Got some more money. I got 99 problems, and not having this money is not one of them. Keep your distance. White's in that cell back there. We've had incidents when people got close. Okay. Oh, or the wicks. White. Those are the things that, like, they tried transplanting an animal soul into the human that had no soul, and they were completely fine, but after they went through puberty, they went feral. I remember that. Are there prostitutes attractive? That's very important to me. Mystics, are you asking about Texan prostitutes right now? They're very pretty and very ugly people in every place across the world.
There's something you don't see every day.
Okay. Where is this dude? Is this his lab? Be careful, there are whites in the corner. Oh, Christ. I thought you were saying that in reference to your Dallas conversation. Like, you're talking about moving, you're talking about Dallas, Fort Worth, Houston, Austin, and then you're like, but how are there prostitutes? And I was like, Jesus!
Consider it done. Give me a real challenge.
Oh, Raven Wing, one-handed mace. That's pretty cool, but we're not really having anyone use maces.
I see where you're going.
It's apparently not stealing to go through this guy's stuff. Blad Golan, unique light armor. Minus 50% stun duration, minus 50% knockdown duration, plus 50 defense while stunned or prone. That's pretty sweet. Does anyone want to use that? 30, 20, 20. Let's see. Where did that armor go? Let's see. 20 and 6. 25 and 7. Breakout. That's pretty sweet. Let's use that. Oh my gosh, now that's a dwarf. Got the broad shoulders and the mochaccino face. Gonna put a dead animal on you. Excellent. Coppery wires and conduits are shiny. Something churns and bubbles in the tank. Alright, let's stop that quick save. Seattles are on average not very attractive. No sun, no care about body image, and hairy. You make it sound like Seattle's all like cavemen and cavewomen. Just going to work like zug zug. There's a place near the famous fish market. It has the nastiest looking girls I've ever seen. Mystics, have you tried meeting people online? Like whatever Seattle's version of Tinder is? A round-faced balding man turns to face you. His upper lip is pulled upward slightly by his pointed nose, exposing his upper teeth when he scowls.
What is the meaning of this?
Ethelmore told me you're not supposed to be doing experiments. Yes, well, Ethelmore hasn't done much good for anybody since he had his soul moved to an inanimate object, so I fail to see why I should let that sway me. If animancers all followed the commands of their leaders, where would we be? We'd all be as backward as willfully ignorant Red Ceres. We would know nothing about life or death or even ourselves. We would be lost in the dark with no clue as to why. Our leaders guide us. Without them, we risk losing our way. If this man would strike off on his own, then let him fend for himself without the benefit of the sanitarium. You toy with things beyond our comprehension. It's dangerous and foolish.
Are you from Rayed Ceres? Are you Widewin himself, risen to smite me for my heretical belief in learning who I am and why I exist? Please. You are afraid because men have
Oh my
taught you to be
God.
afraid. Because they were taught to be afraid. These things are only beyond our comprehension because of the fears of people like you.
I mean, it's going to have to do with personal taste, too. I agree with the statement that in any part of the world, surely there are very attractive and very unattractive people. However, if you're attracted to red-haired women, you're gonna meet more of them if you go to Ireland. You know, whatever group you're most attracted to, if you go to an area with that group, you're gonna feel like you're having, you know, in a place with more luck. So, I mean, it's not a out of question to ask. I bone dudes and they are free. Ah, yes, us men, we're all whores.
Who will solve Widewin's legacy? Some church? Some warrior? It will be an animancer, or it will be no one at all.
Let's see. I want access to the North Ward. Out of the question, these patients are in isolation for a reason. Poor perception. Your forehead seems damp all of a sudden. Perhaps I should discuss your insubordination with the head warden.
You smug cretin. How dare you come down here and meddle? You have no idea the importance of my research.
See, that's what I'm talking about. And that's just personal preference. And I feel like there's so many communities in the like current social climate that would see that and be like, "Oh, you're racist" or whatever. No, it's like that's just what that person's attracted to. That's fine. It's fine to be attracted to one group of people over another. He balls up his fist and digs his teeth into his index finger, a growl simmering beneath his breath and a deep scowl compressing his face.
Fine. Speak to them for all the good it'll do you. I'm sure the discussions will be fascinating.
He nearly slams it down on the floor before handing it to you. Alright. Weirdo. I bet I'm gonna go into the North Ward, and then this guy and a bunch of these flesh golems are gonna like come up behind me and kick my butt or something. Wait, is this the North Ward over here? There's a door to the northwest and the northeast. Okay. Tap that quick save. I'm only racist to non-white tigers. Aren't white tigers the rarer tigers? So that means you're racist toward most tigers. Them orangies. Oh my gosh. Is this my face? Tell me. Oh my gosh. This is going to be one of those things where we go down the hall, then he opens all the doors. This man has the look in his eyes of a hunted animal, and at your approach, he staggers backward to the far corner of his cell, halfway appearing as though he would climb the walls, as if it would get him farther away from you. He cries out, a bizarre primal utterance like nothing you have heard. He stares at you blankly. It's unclear whether he understands you or not, but his panic has momentarily subsided. He opens his mouth to speak, but the words that come out are half-formed, as though his tongue were cut out. They are impossible for you to discern, if indeed they're words at all. His mind has been broken, Watcher. Some trauma, some cruelty is at work. Oh, this is Graham. This is the person... The scoliosis lady said Graham is taken back here for experiments all the time. Perception check. You're afraid. Do certain visitors make you afraid? He looks at you with uncertainty. Slowly, tentatively, he steps closer to the front of his cell, and as he does so for the first time, you can perceive his soul with your ken. It is misshapen as though maimed by some jagged instrument, and large expanses of it have been gouged out entirely. You feel no barriers or resistance. If you wanted to, you could look further into his soul. Peer in. Everyone hears. You say the sweetest things, Mr. White Tiger. You're in your cell. A key turns. The door creaks open on neglected hinges. Thoughts come in you Thoughts come to you in waves, incomplete, broken, fearful. Standing at the door is a rotund, balding man. His upper teeth and pointy nose remind you of a rat. He beckons apologetic. You don't want to go anything else. In your mind is a single word, and the word is no, but it dissolves before it reaches your lips. You press against the back wall corner. You cry out. In darkness, you fight against unseen restraints. You cannot move your arms or legs. The man walks into the room carrying a lit candle, its meager flame casting long shadows across books and machinery. Straps bind your arms and legs. Cold metal circumscribes the crown of your head and the breadth of your chest. The man is sorry. He's in need of raw materials. They dismantled his work and he needs another source. He needs to show them he was right. He thanks you. Then he turns a knob and you feel yourself begin to crack from within, and you can feel pieces of you torn away, like having your insides chewed on by a horde of rats, and you are screaming a scream you can barely hear. XP. Another night. Heavy footsteps outside your door coming for you. You look through a slit in your door. The flesh giant, the artificial being just outside but facing left, facing the end of the hall, the boy there. The boy looks with interest at the giant, then collapses to the floor like a shed snakeskin. The giant convulses for a moment, then rights itself, turns away, and leaves? The spy can hop between bodies. Oh my god. So it came in here in a little boy and jumped into a flesh giant? Decouple from Graham's soul. He looks at you, still wild-eyed, but somehow more present. He nods at you, then walks back to the end of his cell. Speak to the patient at the end of the hall.
These poor people. This isn't the treatment that they were promised upstairs by the cushioned seats and lush carpets.
How old I am, Mystics? I mean, as Tom Cruise's stunt double, I am beyond age. Okay.
Is that the cure for soul sickness? To be thrown into a cell and subjected to the whims of your captor?
I doubt the wealthier citizens have the same experience. I'm sure they have their share of family members they'd rather forget. But if all were treated like this, the sanitarium would never survive. What did these patients do to warrant such conditions? There are just as many who come here and are cured of their ills, people who would otherwise be cast aside. I hope so. You're probably right. It's just hard to see. Let's be on our way. This place gnaws at the soul. They who woke the stars added. Okay. Tap that quick save because I don't know what's about to happen. Isn't this some weird chase with some guy who can jump from body to body? I don't know. I mean, we just learned this guy's like a body snatcher. I thought older but no gray hair. A willowy adolescent boy stands in the center of his cell, gawkish and stoop-shouldered. He stares straight ahead, the occasional blink his only movement, and it is unclear whether he registers your presence at all behind his glassy, doll-like eyes. In this state, the barriers between your soul and his are thin and porous, easily bypassed if you should wish it. Reach out for his soul. I am 33, Mystics. You close your eyes and edge forward toward the boy's soul, and as you near, a sudden malaise overcomes you. You are cold and warm all at once, sweating and shivering and straining for breath, as you did on the caravan journey. The soul you approach is the wrong one, a parasitic plant that strangles its host. It is predatory and pitiless, and you have crossed paths with it before. Too late does it occur to you to retract, and already you feel yourself plunging into some interminable abyss of thought and memory. You're standing in a cell now, the same cell in the sanitarium. The halls are moonlit and empty, and you are waiting. At the far end of the ward, the door opens, revealing a flesh golem in silhouette beneath a stone archway. It makes its usual rounds, the same stops every time, the misbegotten child of a despondent creator. When the construct is close, you coil yourself up and spring forward, passing out of the boy's body as though it were a membrane. You sense his body behind you collapsing to the floor, a puppet whose strings are cut. You're rushing toward the golem now, bodiless as a gust of wind. Quickly, you think to yourself quickly, and you feel the strength hemorrhaging from your soul as you dart towards the makeshift abomination. You pass into the golem's shell and overtake the soul implanted within, encircling it, suppressing it, and contained in this new vessel, You are strong again. You step heavy-footed down the corridor unheeded by the other constructs and scrutinized only by the wary, untrustworthy eyes of the mad, coming at last to an orifice piled with books and scribbled papers and the perverse implements of animancy. You set your oversized hands on a large machine, a nest of globes and tubes and coils in the center of the room, and go to work, bending wires and unsettling alignments. Okay, so sabotage. Your surroundings are pulled past you, or perhaps you are pulled past them, and they dissolve into a blur. When they settle into place again, you are outside of a clear day, standing in front of a crowd stacked high above you on the tiered seats of the amphitheater. You're acting for the crowd, standing deliberately still, but this is no play. A balding man with rodent-like feet... Oh, the accident that hit Azo. So the spy jumped into a golem, sabotaged his machines, and it's gonna do something and blow up in his face and shame him or something. A balding man with rodent-like features is strapping you to a machine, the one you had tampered with. You see your arms for the first time, short and fleshy, unmistakably those of a little girl, but this body is not truly yours. Your mind still holds the same determination and hard-heartedness as before. The body itself is cold and vacuous. Unlike the others, this one has no soul of its own. So it's on a hollow-born girl right now. No, it's fine. I honestly, so many people have like a bio section or like an about me section on their Twitch page. I thought about adding that, but I've just had fun having people guess it and just waiting a while before telling them mystics. It's not a secret, but so many people have guessed numbers all over the place, it's become kind of a game. These tiger jokes. Has your opinion on PoE changed at all? I'm enjoying it so far, Hobbit. I will say, I complained about the camping log system. That is silly. It is silly. But the realization that the bandaging skill restores hit points, not endurance, and everything else restores endurance, makes it to where I can go much longer without needing to use a camping log. So it's not so bad. 63. Well, you were close. Give or take a digit. And it's funny, you talked about me not having gray hair, and I've actually, from the time I was 12 until like 20, I had more gray hair than my parents. I've got a patch back here that grows gray. And it's not a birthmark because it started when I was 12, and my parents joke that it's because I was so stressed. I don't know. But I've got a patch of gray hair back there, and it wasn't until my parents' hair actually went full gray that they suddenly beat me out. How does it compare to Pathfinder? Pathfinder had the makings of an excellent game that felt like it was released while it was in alpha and just buggy as hell. This game is very solid, and I've only encountered one bug so far. It's from the yard work. Yeah, just bleached. So I was walking around like this the whole time, just bleaching the side of my head. The man speaks, and the crowd applauds with enthusiasm worthy of a hero's entrance. "Bear witness," he says, and pulls a lever. The machine shivers and sparks, and a bead of sweat rolls down the side of the man's brow, but the crowd's apprehension quickly gives way to awe as a crystal globe fills with a radiant mist that casts the entire theater aglow. He opens a valve, and the glow crawls through a tube along a length of copper wiring that runs to a set of electrodes beneath your armpits. You feel nothing when it reaches you, as it should be, for you have been leading his orchestra periodically for some time, altering notes and settings and playing puppeteer for Hollowborn, but you make it look how people would expect it to look when a body is infused with a soul. In a moment, the machine goes dark and the man unstraps you, eyeing you with a scientist's concern. He looks back up at the crowd. "Behold," he says, but there's obvious hesitation in his voice. Slowly, you take a plodding step forward, then another and another. You look up at the man, giving him the eye contact of which no Hollowborn is capable, and the crowd gasps. The man looks relieved. "How do you feel?" he asks at a volume meant for the crowd, and this is the moment. At the top of your lungs, you let out a piercing shriek. The man comes towards you, his hands outstretched, but you run the other way, back to the machine. With all your strength, you drive your head into the crystal globe, and it shatters, streaking your head with warm blood. You drive your head down onto the surface of the machine again and again, drawing panicked screams from the crowd. And by the time the man reaches you, your body has already ceased proper function and merely twitches on the cold ground. Satisfied, you depart the corpse in search of another host. Who could put their faith in animancy now? What a piece of shit! You're pulled again from your surroundings, transcending the boundaries of memories and lifetimes, deeper and deeper past betrayals and murders and lies upon lies that form the thick webbing of plots beyond mortal comprehension. You settle at last on a room you've seen before, expansive with a tall device encasing an Adra monolith at its center. The room is filled with people, and the people all look at the device. Yeah, no comment, Hobbit. Do you think magic users are better in Pathfinder or PoE? I don't know. In PoE, there's cast per rest spells, and which is similar to Pathfinder's, use spells per day, and there's per encounter spells, which you can use every fight, which compared to Pathfinder, that's only the cantrips. So they're very different. They're just different. Yeah. Pathfinder. Pathfinder had buffing. This game, I don't, which is sucks. But at the same time, it's really nice to rest and not be doing 2 minutes of buffing after every rest, because that was my Pathfinder experience. But I was playing on a higher difficulty. You're yanked suddenly back to reality, and the once catatonic boy in the cell is looking directly at you, appraising and calculating. There's no mistaking now that this is the soul of Thaus Ix Arcanon. It's Thaus! The man you have been searching for that gazes out from the borrowed husk. A watcher. You made me into a watcher. I need you to undo it. Is that so? He makes no effort to hide his disinterest, but he continues to search your eyes. He makes a slight grunting noise, and his eyes soften for an instant, and it seems, for that moment, he recognizes you. He opens his mouth to speak, then seems to think better of what he was about to say, and his jaw tightens. I know your look. You hunger. Hunger for answers that elude you. It gnaws at your soul. It usurps your reason for being. You're like everyone. I will help you let go. He dodges backward with startling grace, putting himself out of reach. Of the door? I can't reach you. On his face, there is no malice, only the dispassion of a farmer putting down a sick animal. Then suddenly, he slumps forward. No! No! Get your fat ass back here! I knew it! I freaking called it! I knew it! Ooh. All guns, fire at will! This is that music that sounds like it's from Bleach. Doing which study we talked about both also took 2 minutes because you were buffing 10 party members. The longer you wait to play Path, the more enjoyable it will be. I agree with that. If you're gonna play Path either way, wait for more patches. Wait for the most patches possible. All the patches. See if we can get a laser going from those three. Whew. Well, now we're gonna get punished in town for killing all the patients. That's great. Freaking called it. God, your party is ugly. Are they from Seattle? Oh, Mystics. Nah, you just don't have taste. Look at this. This is total waifu material. Look at this beauty with her crazed eyeballs. And here, for the ladies.
shed no blood.
I would bang mother. Let's just put that on a plaque. White Tiger, 11/17/18. I would bang mother. That. Just immortalize that. Do they have a charm spell? Mother's actually the best looking. Every time with the green mother's just like the first time though. Oh man. Canna's rough.
Got it.
Canna's a biter.
Time to
You can
see
tell.
and not be seen.
Oh, flesh constructs count as vessels. Interesting. I wasn't sure if they would count as undead or like golems. Okay, we're at 100% XP for flesh constructs.
Quickly and quietly.
Oh, the whites are out. Or the